Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coturnix Corner Live. My name's Terry. I'm glad to see you all here today. It looks like we've got quite a few people checked into the chat room already, so hello, everyone over there. I see I'm getting some feedback somewhere. Hold on one second. Okay, no, that's coming from my feed. I'm getting feedback from you, Caesar. Um, Okay, before we get started, guys, I do have a few announcements that I'd like to make. I wanted to give you an update on the members only section that I talked to you about in the last show of last week. Um, we decided to pull the plug on the idea. There were just too many comments that were negative, and there was a few that was for it, but most of it was negative. And I think the whole membership money idea was just a problem with some people. So we decided to pull the plug on that. And what I'm going to do though is, if anyone needs any help from me as far as the incubator goes, or hatching problems, whatever, contact me either via email or on Facebook Messenger. And if I can't help you out that way, I'll even go and Skype with you. If we need a little bit of more time to work on the problem. But as far as a project things going that we had planned on for the members only deal, the project thing has been we pulled the plug on that. So sorry about that one. Also, I want to announce the winner of last week's hatching egg contest giveaway, and that is Tyler Shepard from Lakeland, Georgia. So, congrats, Tyler. If you could give me, or yeah, give me an email with your shipping information. My email is terry@coturnixcorner.com, and I will get them eggs out to you ASAP. It looks like we've got an audio issue again. Hold on one second. Um, Verna, you're saying there's no audio? Okay, yeah, it looks like there's a lot of people saying there's no audio. Let me check this out. Test one, two, check.
I hear you fine. So
Okay, I'm not getting, I guess we're not getting any audio in the broadcast. Hold on one second. Let me change microphone. Okay, Verna, can you let me know if you can hear any audio now, please? I can hear Terry, but some aliens are coming through as well. Okay, those aliens you are hearing are our guests. They are in the background. Um, I switched microphones. Let me crank it up a little bit. Okay, how is that? Is my audio any better? Okay, I am going to start over again real quick. I am sorry about the audio issues. I don't know what that was caused by, but it looks like it's taken care of now. Okay, welcome everybody to the show. We got a really interesting show for you today. We're doing another members spotlight. Um, we've got quite a few people in the chat room. Verna, if you're not hearing anything, it must be on your end because everybody else is hearing us now. Uh, Okay, I'm going to go start over with the announcements real quick. I wanted to give you an update on the members only section that I talked about on last week's live stream. We decided to pull the plug on that. There were just too many comments that didn't like the idea, so I'm not going to get into. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to leave it right there. We pulled the plug on the membership idea, so. I am going to offer assistance to anyone that needs it. I will do it via email, via Skype, via Facebook Messenger. Um, all you got to do is contact me, and we'll set up an appointment to do that. So, okay, back to the hatching contest. The winner of the hatching egg contest is Tyler Shepard from Lakeland, Georgia. So, congratulations, Tyler. If you could send me your shipping information to Terry@coturnixcorner.com, I will get your eggs out this week. Um, Also, if anyone else is interested in coming on the Coturnix Corner Live show, send me a message or an email. We are looking for quail keepers to do a member spotlight series like we're doing tonight, and we have some openings for September. Okay, like I said, today's show is another member spotlight series, and we have Cesar and Shanda Saenz with us today. They're going to be talking with us about their quail and giving us a quick tour of their setup. We're going to be taking questions later on in the show, so if you have a specific question for our guest, please type the letter Q in front of your question. That'll just help me distinguish the comments from the questions. I'm really excited to get our guest in here, so let's go ahead and get this show started. From you guys. Okay, we are live now. I have Shanda and Cesar. Did you guys by any chance have the video playing on another device there?
No,
No, just your phone. So you shouldn't be.
just on the phone.
That's really strange that we're getting audio like that. I don't know what's causing it. Anyhow, welcome both you guys to the show. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Like I said, we have Shanda and Cesar Saenz with us. Let's go ahead and jump right into the questions. Can you guys tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with quail?
Well, I'm Cesar. This is Shanda. We basically have been almost all of our married life together. We've been somewhat on the prepper type of mindset, you know, making sure that we taking care of ourselves. We have 5 kids, so we're always having to look ahead on things. So we've always had that mindset, and I guess we got chickens about how many years ago? 10 years ago. 10 years ago we got chickens, and
that was fun.
we were hoping to get eggs all the time, and that didn't turn out very well. So about 8 years ago, I learned a little bit about quail, and just never dove into getting them. So we just decided during the lockdown to go ahead and do it. That it just made sense, as opposed to the chickens that really we didn't get any meat out of them. We could only have 7 in our city because we're in the city, so we could only have 7 chickens at a time, and they take so long to get up to production, and then they don't lay eggs half the time either. So, and then you can't really eat them. So it just made more sense to can't eat the chickens. So it just made more sense to do quail. We had rabbits for a little while, but they were mainly pets. And then the quail just made more sense.
Right. Great. What types of quail are you keeping right now? Just Coturnix, and what colors are you keeping?
Just Coturnix. We've got some Tibetans, some Scarlets or Rosettas, I think. Rosettas. And then I just got some Jumbo Wilds.
Okay, great.
And actually, when I first started, I actually started off with Jumbo Wilds, but I only had 8. They were mature when I bought them.
Great. What role does Shanda play in the quail keeping venture? If you could tell me that, please.
I got dragged in kicking and screaming. What role? Well, recently, now that we are processing quail, he's the executioner and I'm the butcher. That's how we've divided up that labor.
So I dispatch, she eviscerates. So, and
Gotcha.
I make them look nice.
she makes them look nice, and she's the cook in the family, so she's the one who prepares the eggs, the quail, when we do eat. So,
Sure.
and that's pretty much
like
it. And
the babies.
she does a lot of baby sitting too. She loves the babies.
Gotcha.
And then also
once they come outside, I try to keep my distance because I'll swallow them all over. But it's been a fun process, just kind of getting. I'm still kind of figuring out. We're figuring out still what we're doing here. We're having a lot of fun. We've learned a lot along the way, but I mean we're kind of just seeing how this is going to fit into more of a lifestyle of
Right.
being able to, kind of make this a side business. So.
Yep. I just shut off my other mic. Verna, if you could you let me know? I turned that mic down. Can you let me know if that helped out any on the audio? I am going to show some of those photos that you sent me. Can you tell us a little bit about your cage setup while those photos are going?
Sure. You want me to show you the cage setup?
No, not yet. Just talk a little bit about it. I've got the photos up right now.
That's of the main cage?
Yeah.
Or the smaller cage?
The
Main cage?
Yeah, the main cage.
That is actually your design modified. So,
Okay.
I took how you built it, and I went on the cheap with that. Basically, I bought 2x4s and I split them. I ripped them myself with the saw, and it's pretty much almost exactly your design. I didn't put cross bracing in there. I just put the unit together. The rollout trays are a little bit different than yours, and I think maybe the door might be a little bit different too. So, but it's pretty much your same design that you put on when you made yours.
Right. I'm going to bring up that photo you sent of the first flock. Looks like you got a bunch of birds out in looks like a little cage out in the yard there.
Right. Yeah. That was when we first got our first set of quail. It was we got 8 of them from a local guy, about 30 minutes away or so. Mm-hmm. And I just said, we got to get quail. We got to get quail. And I found him, and I said, because I had tried to get quail before, and there was nobody selling quail around here locally. So I said, this guy says he has some quail, let me go get him. And I ran out and got him. I didn't have any cages or anything built to put these things in. Right. So we had them out here in the yard in just a dog crate that we fortified with some chicken wire around the outside. And then we're moving them around like a little chicken tractor or a little quail tractor. Sure. As they would tear up the grass, and we just move them. And they were full grown, and they weren't laying any eggs at all, and they just wouldn't. I think they were distressed with the cats coming around, being on the ground. They just didn't like it. So, right. And then I did actually lose one to a cat that reached in through an opening that we didn't have covered completely and just took the quail out. I lost a couple of them. One flew away and I never found him. Another one just died. But we ended up with 5 left over of that original flock. But that's how we started. Okay. I just went and got them and made the commitment, and then started working on their cage.
Gotcha. You also sent me a picture which I really like, your black soldier fly setup. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I'm going to bring that image up.
Yeah, I started, I don't even know why I started with black soldier flies. I think for composting, because we really want to start our garden again, and we were thinking about composting. Then it really kicked into gear when I realized that they would eat the quail poop, which is quite a bit. So I said, I need to breed some soldier flies. So I bought a container for $20 online, and I placed them in that cage that I made. I was making the cage for the jumbo wilds that I had, and the black soldier fly at the same time. So I made that cage. That's a breeding cage. It's got dirt, water supply, and then also a feed bin in there for them to lay their eggs. Gotcha. And I took that original colony of black soldier flies, and I produced tons and tons of black soldier flies. So I I've incorporated them into my compost pile,
Mhm.
and I feed them to the quail every now and then as just a protein source and a calcium source.
Sure, great. Okay, I forgot one quick announcement. Guys, type the letter Q in front of your questions for our guest. At the end of the show, we are going to select one of the questions or one of the people, and that person is going to get a free Coturnix Corner coffee mug. I forgot to tell you that, so get your questions in and get eligible to win that coffee cup. Okay, so back to our questions. I understand that you guys built a Coturnix Corner incubator.
Yes.
How's that working out for you?
It's actually pretty awesome. It works really well. So we had a 92% hatch rate on our first batch of eggs that we got from my Shire farm from Zach.
Yep.
So we had like a 92% hatch rate on those, and an 87% on our second batch, and we've now got our own eggs from our Tibetans and our Rosettas in the incubator right now, getting ready to hatch some more.
Okay, cool.
But it's working out good. There's one thing I would have changed or fixed a little bit more on there, but I'll explain that when I get inside. And it's not a big problem, but it's just a little air leaking out of there that messes with the humidity. Sure.
Yeah, there's a few things. I mean, every build is a little bit different. I mean, they can't be identical to the way I built it, and I've had to actually work through solving problems with probably a dozen or more incubators, but we have gotten them figured out. So, okay, I have a quick video here of your brooder. If you want to talk about that a little bit, I am going to start that, and then I'm going to unmute your mic.
Okay. So the brooders were a combination. Well, I saw your video on your brooders. You were just showing them. You didn't show how to build them or anything. And then I also watched Zach's videos on his brooders, and I kind of just came up with my own design. And again, those were not even made when I got my first eggs in the incubator. So I put my eggs in the incubator, and I said, I need to make some brooders. So I started building brooders.
Right.
I made two brooders, and they are on a rack that you could roll around, and they slide in and out, so you can take them off the rack, and they're stacked. So
okay.
and I guess you see them in the video there.
Yep.
But just using two regular heat lamps with 100-watt light bulbs, and just keeping an eye on the chicks and seeing how they respond to the light and the heat. So
right.
That's pretty much it.
How many chicks can you get in there?
What was that?
How many chicks can you get in your brooder?
They're 2x6. So, I mean, okay. 2x3, so I can fit 36 to. No, I can fit. So 6 square feet. What is that? So.
2 times 6 is 12. You got two of them that are 2x3, right?
Well, what we did was we ran 40 in each one.
Gotcha.
So and it seemed to work good until we got to the Jumbo Wilds, and they were just little heat boxes. They just produced so much heat. You know, their feathers didn't come in and stuff like that, like they should have being in there. But
right.
I'd say with the Jumbo Wilds, I can only fit 30 in each one.
Yeah, well, still that's really good. Okay, yeah, I guess I don't have any more questions written down here, but I do want to get a quick tour of your setup, if you don't mind.
Okay, sure.
And then, guys, after we get this tour done, we are going to be taking questions for our guest. Like I say, if you guys will type the letter Q in front of your questions, that'll just help me find the questions a little bit easier. And like I said earlier, you can win a Coturnix Corner coffee cup. So we will select that and announce that at the end of the show. And also, if you would, hit that like button for me. Okay, back to you, Cesar.
Okay. So this is my first cage that I made for my original flock. Again, this was a design I took part of what Papa on Zach's My Shire Farm videos did for building the cage, and kind of modified it and made it my own. But this cage is, I was trying to make my whole setup to where I could remove each cage individually. So this cage actually slides out of here, and it disconnects from the water supply with just a compression type fitting of some sort. I don't know, a union or something like that is what they call it.
Right.
So I can disconnect it there, take the cage out. And this one is actually a breeding cage that I made, because I was only going to start with these 8 birds that I had. I had 2 different sections, and I was going to have just breeders in there, and I was going to breed my own. But then I just decided to break down and buy some eggs. So this little girl here, or big girl here, is in isolation by herself because she picks on everybody else. So everybody else is fine together except for her. So she stays on her own side. But that's the original cage that I built right there. So we've got this cage, which is a 2-foot by 6-foot 1/2-inch mesh cage, just put together with rabbit clips for the cage design. It's separated in the middle. And this is my bachelor's pad right here. So this is all my jumbo wilds that are turning into adults right now. I guess they're teens. They're in their teens right now. And I am using these, I don't know if that's focusing right, the low waste feeders and just some waterers there.
Yep.
And then I have over here, I'll just go ahead and show you this too. That's the black soldier fly bin. It is completely empty right now because I'm just letting the black soldier flies run wild and try to populate the environment a little bit here. This setup here is another 2x3 setup, and this is a quarantine cage that I made. It's all separated into 6 different compartments.
Oh, I like that.
And for a while there, I'm just using these pans from AutoZone that you recommended to cover them, but these will eventually go on another cage that I built. I'll put some tops on here or something. Actually, this one is probably going to go underneath my main cage right over there. I've got a frame that I'm building for it, and I'm going to put it on there. But my Tibetans and my Rosettas were getting beat up so bad, I would have to put 6 in here in quarantine and just trade them out every now and then as they got better, and gain the feathers back or stop bleeding or whatever.
Right.
The main cage that I made, this just has a feeder. It's a gravity feeder, PVC thin wall PVC pipe, and I drilled some holes in it and just ran it through the cage. I fill this up about once a week for the 4 birds, so it doesn't take much time. I do have this little string lever on here. I put it up here, and when I fill it up, when they finish eating the food, it drops down, so I know they need new food in their bin, so I don't have to even pay attention really. I did make a big mistake on this actual unit. I wanted to try and make this to where they had a dust bath in the back area and a cage area in the front. And I made that, but what ended up happening, see, here's where you can get into the dust bath and clean it out. But what happened was it was just too dirty and messy all the time, so I tore off the bottom and I just put regular 1/2-inch mesh on the bottom there, so they just have more room back here in the back. This is ventilated, so the dusting box area, and I can still put some diatomaceous earth in here in the container every now and then if I need to. It's flat bottom, so they can go in there and get off of the slanted floor too. They like to sleep in there sometimes. This one does have the pull-out tray on there also, and then down below, that's where I'm going to put that other quarantine cage that I've got. Eventually, here's the frame for it. I'm building the frame and these are my black soldier frogs that I have available right now. They're actually hatching. I don't know if you can probably see them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're hatching in here, and we just put garden scraps in here. Every now and then, when a bird passes away for some reason, I'll throw it in there, and they'll eat up the carcass, and then all that's left is bones and feathers, and you know, so that comes in real handy too, especially when I'm living in the city and I don't want to, you know, throw that in the garbage can.
Sure. How long does it take for the larvae to hatch out?
I think it's 14 days.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. They actually stopped hatching for a while. I think it was just too hot. So, but they're starting now again. We've had a few cooler days, and I think they know when to hatch and when not to hatch.
Right.
You know?
Verna wants to know where you're located at.
I am in Corpus Christi, Texas. Let me turn my camera around. There, I'm in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Okay, great. What are your average temperatures over there right now?
We're like 98.
Okay.
Somewhere
You're
around there. It's
about
pretty
the
hot.
same as us. Yep.
Yeah, these guys, if you look at them, they're panting pretty good.
Right.
These are in the shade. That's the only reason why I have them over here, is because of the shade.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would have them over in my other location with my main cage, and close that camera around. Okay, so I'm gonna run on inside, and I'll show you my incubator setup and the brooder setup.
Perfect.
So, any other questions?
Yeah, let's hear what Shanda has to say about taking care of all those babies.
I don't know if he got pictures of boobs. We had a special baby.
Yeah, did I send you that
I
picture
don't know.
of it was a curled toe bird.
No, I did not get that one. Yep.
Anyway, we had one that got stuck in got stuck in. Let me turn on the light in here, maybe a bit. Got stuck in the egg for a couple of days, and it ended up with curled toes. So we did a blue painter's tape where we separated the toes, put the painter's tape on there, and 2 days they were fixed, and she's back in the pen with everybody else with her own special leg band, because she's kind of like our pet now. So
Right.
Yeah,
Too late.
we bonded. It's too late. She's gonna lay eggs for us. It happens to be a girl, so she is gonna lay eggs for us and be our pet.
That was pretty amazing. I thought that was our first kind of failure to launch, because she was in her egg for 2 days, just her feet out, and we really thought she was, you know, we were just disposing of an egg, and he happened to crack it, and she moved, and then she was just walking on her little forelegs, just stumbling around. We put another little kind of runt in with her in the lockdown, just to try and get her kind of socialized with a group. So, you know, we're just hoping she'd thrive anyway. And then we saw the painter's tape hack, and that was awesome to see her just come to life and be perfectly fine. That was really cool.
Sure.
Well, let me show you the brooders here.
Okey-doke.
I mean the incubator. So this was my original incubator. It's just an ice chest that I got from a friend.
Okay.
Styrofoam, and I ended up putting double pane of glass, one on the inside, one on the outside. So I cut on both sides, and I sealed it so it was double insulated, which I don't think we really need to do. But it's just running off of a couple of light bulbs and a little fan that I got for $5 at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And it circulates air in there, circulates the heat using the Inkbird controller that you recommend.
Sure.
What is it, IT 1000 or something like that?
Yep. ITC 1000, yep.
ITC, yeah. So I used that one because I already had my eggs coming in and needed something real quick. I didn't have the time to build yours, but then I built that one. So my first batch was
We hatched them in, we incubated them in this one, and then we put them in lockdown in yours once it was built. So I've used yours as a lockdown. Now, you see on here, I got a little contraption. This is what I was talking about, because on here, if you don't have something holding that down, this door tends to bow right here, and it just too much humidity coming out. So I need to put a furring strip on here like I did on the sides.
Sure.
Just to stiffen it up. I just haven't had a chance to, so I got my little rig here. Holding it in place.
Whatever works, right?
Yeah, that keeps a good constant temperature. This is about to come on. Excuse all my messes. Shipping boxes that have come in and stuff. But I did not have on this original unit. I did not have an automatic egg turner. It's too small. I'm going to go ahead and show you this. So I've got only a few eggs in here because part of them are in that other white one as a lockdown right now. Mm-hmm. But I did put the rails on here. It keeps really good temperature and really good humidity with just a couple of cups of water in there. And then it's got the automatic turner. So I did not have the automatic turner on this one when I first started. Yeah, just take the cup. So she's gonna get my little contraption that I made. So this was what I did with just a little bit of foam and some old wood that I had around the house here. Right now it's got chicken rails in there, but I put this in this white ice chest with a dowel rod running through the middle right here, mm-hmm. and going through the side of the incubator here all the way across. So it was like pivoting inside the incubator, so I could just with these little strings right here coming out through holes in the top, I could tilt my eggs without having to go in and turn them. So it was like a manual automatic turner kind of, but that was just a pain. So I went ahead and bought an automatic turner and put it in here now. So these are two different sets of dates on eggs. They're all from the same birds, mm-hmm. but these were collected 4 days earlier than the ones over here in yours.
Great.
So they'll be going into lockdown in about 4 days. So
very nice.
Here's the setup of the brooders. So, and they are, just have a top on here that can be taken off. These are prepared, ready for the eggs that are hatching. Okay. I have two fruit bowls in here, or two fruit feeders that have the 8 holes on each one of them, and then 2 of the waters with the thin trough so that they don't drown in there. I have that raised up on a 2x4 because it eliminates a lot of the poop going into the containers. So, and that's lined with the blue shop towels that you pick up at Harbor Freight. In the center here, I have just a piece of wire, and actually you can see it better on this bottom. So I just have a piece of wire supporting the floor since there's nothing running across there.
Gotcha.
So it just makes it level. So when you put a whole bunch of water jugs in here, it doesn't sag down in the middle. Yep. So this one here does not have the blue shop towels. You can see that it's got the 1/4-inch mesh on the bottom. And then the pan underneath to catch the feces. So this is indoors. I'm inside my house right now. Okay. So I clean these trays out every day, and that keeps the smell down. So it's not too bad. By the end of the day, it does get a little bit bad. But again, inside, use the technique that Zach uses to cover up the top, and open it up every now and then, as they start getting older and don't need as much heat.
Sure.
My heat lamps are on dimmable light switches, that I use here. They're
Cool.
just neutron light switches, so I can turn up and down the heat as I need to. So,
Nice.
and that's, again, a regular light bulb in there. These are my normal lockdown trays that I made. They're very similar to yours.
Mm-hmm.
That fit into the incubator that you made. I just cut some little strips down and made a top just to cover it a little bit.
Right.
And then again, it's got the 1/2-inch mesh on the bottom, using the drawer liners for, to keep their little feet falling through the dough.
Sure.
So
Cool. Looks
again,
good.
I only keep my birds on the blue paper towels for about a week, and then I take it out, and then they're on the wire from then on.
Gotcha.
1 week is all it takes.
Yep, it's about the same thing that I do. Okay, it looks like we're getting quite a few questions. If you guys are ready to start taking some questions, or do you got some more to show us?
Let me go out and show you the main cage.
Okay.
We can go sit down and we can finish.
Sure, that'll work. I got a question real quick you guys can answer while you're walking out there. Loving Life at Home wants to know, between the two of you, how much time on average a day do you spend working on the quail?
Well, actually, that's she doesn't spend much time daily on a daily, unless I forget, like yesterday, and I had to have her come out and feed the birds because I forgot that. But for the most part, I spend maybe about 20 minutes per day on average, just feeding them and making sure their water's good and filling up the water, and just making sure everybody's not beat up or
Sure.
nothing's happened to them. But for the most part, it's pretty quick. The days that take the longest are when I have to clean out the trays, because I do have trays on these units. I'll go ahead and switch around to that. So this is our main cage setup.
Oh yeah, nice.
Layers too much or not. But there's 8 trays in this one, and I have extra ones that I switch them out as I pull them out.
Mm-hmm.
To do the 8 trays plus the one over there on our main cage, and then feed and water, it will take me maybe about 35-40 minutes to do that. When I end up cleaning up everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's less than an hour per day, except for in the days when we have to cull. Then that takes a little bit longer.
Right.
A couple of hours.
Right.
But that's about it. About an hour a day, and I do want to add another cage, just like the one that I have. Now in this setup here, each level, there's 4 different levels. So each level can hold about 40 birds in each one, comfortably, without them picking at each other. So, and I've got automatic watering system on here. So that's the automatic waterers. I just fill up this container every day with water, and we're good. This is a little thing that I made to put crushed oyster shell in, so they couldn't tip it over, but they could get their head in there.
Yep.
Because what was happening, they started laying eggs. The Tibetans and the Rosettas started laying eggs real early. And like at 6 weeks or 5.5 weeks, something like that. And I was still feeding them my turkey starter, which is a 28% protein, but very low calcium, maybe like 1% or something like that on the calcium. So, and I wanted to keep feeding them that 28% for 8 weeks. So I had a few weeks that I needed to supplement with the oyster shell. Now they're on just regular, I think it's 16% with the normal amount of calcium, I think 3.75 or 3.5, something like that.
Good.
And so they're different feeds. These get the adult feed, the ones down here, which are the jumbo wilds, they get the turkey starter feed.
Okay.
So, and these are just here because see, I've got eggs already getting produced now for the evening, and they produce from late afternoon till about 11:30 at night. So this is just to protect it, being able to come out or anything getting in there. This is 1x4. Let me show a close up of the birds here.
Oh yeah.
So those are some, I guess, tuxedos in there. And these are all the rosettas.
Nice. What do you keep? How many birds per square foot are you keeping?
I'm keeping right at 3.
Okay, good.
Trying to keep right at 3. So I've got like 4 to 5 males in each cage, and then the rest are females. And I got right around 40 in each cage, right around there.
Okay, I did have one
Maybe
question.
Maybe a little bit less. So these are the Tibetans. They're darker in color. And, they got the same feeders. I'm waiting for some J feeders to come in. So they got the same feeders. You said you had a question?
I am trying to find it while you're showing it. Chase Colba wants to know, how many quail do you have in total?
We had 160, and then we just culled 20 males, so we're down to 140.
Oh, okay, great.
Plus what we've got in the incubator, which is about another 120 or 115 that we've got in there, and we'll probably get about an 80% hatch rate, or maybe more. So we might have 80 more.
Cool. Okay, if you guys want to head back over to your chairs, we're running a little short on time. I'd like to get some questions in here. Oh, there's a nice little girl.
That's Boots. That's the one with the.
Oh, with the feet. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's fine now. So that's
Looks good.
Let's go ahead and head on over.
She looks good. Okay.
This is our backyard. Our backyard is pretty small. You know, you got that area, our house, and then this is the area with our chicken run in there.
Gotcha.
And you know, so it's not a big backyard. I wish we had bigger.
Okay, while you're doing that, I am going to get set up for the questions here. Guys, if you have any questions for our guest, like I say, type the letter Q in front of your question. We're going to run through these questions a little bit quicker than normal. We've only got like about 15 minutes left, so I want to get all of them in if possible. Let's see, get through the audio problems. Oh, I like this one. Spartman said, "Hello, McFly. Anyone home?" I guess that was my problem with my audio. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I apologize, you guys, for the audio. I think the issue was I had their audio cranked up way too high on my end. Let's see here. Where are the questions starting? I can imagine. Let's see. Ken Taylor says, have you ever had an aggression problem with newly hatched chicks at 12 hours old? Have you ever had chicks that seemed like they were overly aggressive?
I have not, no.
Yeah. I every once in a while will get a bird which will grab like the toe of another bird and drag them around a little bit, but that's normal.
Yeah, I had that. They think it's worms or food or whatever, and they just latch on and drag the other one around. It's kind of a little bit funny and sad at the same time.
We've never lost one that way.
No.
So it's short-lived if it happens.
All right. John Marlowe wants to know what size of the drip pans that you're using.
They're 2 foot by 3 foot, and those are the ones that I got from AutoZone, and I bought them online, so they're like $10.99 a piece, and I bought them online with the 25% discount. So
that's what I do.
I think I got 15 pans for $150 or something like that.
Sure. Okay,
But
Rhodes
are
Matheson
very
says, oh, I'm
sturdy.
sorry. I'm sorry, go ahead.
They're very sturdy, and they really come in handy to be able to scrape them and
Yep,
move them around. They're not flimsy or anything, so I
Yep.
like them.
exactly.
They're worth the money.
Rhodes Matheson says, what's the difference between Jumbo Brown and Jumbo Pharaohs, or is there a difference? And nice to meet you from North Carolina, Mr. and Mrs. Saenz.
Good to meet you too. The Jumbo Browns and the Jumbo Pharaohs, they're the same breed,
Yep.
or the same strain, whatever it is. I don't know the terms for all that, but they're the same. At least that's what I believe. Browns and,
Yeah,
and
they're
Pharaohs
they're all the same. Yep.
are all the same. They're just different names.
Yep. Jumbo Wild, Jumbo Brown, Pharaohs are all the same. Yep. Let's see. It looks like this is a question for me. Candy Ross says, Terry, I built a cage setup like yours with a rollout, but had one 4-week-old jumbo get out and standing outside the rim of the rollout when I checked on them the next day. Have I ever had any get out? Yes, I have. I normally will not put any birds in a rollout type cage that are not laying eggs yet. And if I do, I'll put like a 2x4 right there at the opening just to keep the birds from squeezing out. So,
That's the same thing I do on mine. It fits just perfect
Yep.
right inside them.
exactly. Nerdworks wants to know, how many soldier flies did you start out with?
It was supposed to be 1,000, I think.
Wow.
1,000 in the container, and then I ended up with that. I think it's a 18-gallon tub
Mm-hmm.
full of them, about 5 or 6 inches deep.
Right.
They just multiplied like crazy. So,
Size of a butter tin or a butter.
yeah, it was a little container like this of black soldier flies. Just a little one.
Right.
And then it turned into that whole container of nothing but black soldier flies.
Yep.
And they're good because they're supposed to help keep the fly population down too.
Yep. Yeah, they eat the fly maggots, so they can't reproduce. Stacy Taffer says, do quail need direct sunlight to lay? If I set my quail hutch under a heavily shaded tree, will that affect my layers?
I would say yes after a while, especially on the shorter end of days, when the days start getting shorter.
Sure.
On mine, I'll put it on there too, but on this one here, I have just Christmas lights over the top of the cage,
I saw that.
and that extends their hours, enough for them to be able to lay eggs all the time. We have, ever since we got the quail, we haven't had to buy eggs at the store. We got plenty of eggs.
Yep.
Eggs, and the lighting helps with that, especially on the shorter days,
Sure.
even during the winter months. So from what I understand.
Oh, yeah. In the summer it probably would be a problem, but if you do find that they're not laying, try that, with a simple fix.
Extra hours.
Sure.
I'm running, I think, 15 hours of daylight out
Yep.
here with the overhead lights.
Right.
Now
Okay.
my other cage over there, the main cage,
Yep.
I don't have any lights on that, and they're laying just fine right now at this point in time because of
Daylight hours are long enough, right? Okay, Taco Promotions wants to know, what was used as the brooding area for your quail? I think you explained that when you showed us the brooder.
yeah, that was just
Yeah,
inside, the brooders that I made.
Yeah, that's what he says. He just saw the shots. I should have went actually. Phyllis Wells wants to know, where did you get your soldier flies at?
It was a company out of San Antonio, Texas. I don't remember.
Okay.
Online.
It was online.
Okay. Taco Promotions' second question says, how many jumbo wilds do you have now?
Right now we have 80 of the juveniles, and then the 5 full growns.
Okay.
So 85 total.
T-A says, how many is too many in a bachelor pad? Thanks in advance. I guess that's going to decide on the size of your bachelor pad.
Here, this is a 2x3 each section, and I have about 15 birds in each section.
Okay.
And they seem to be okay. They're not fighting too much. Now, my Tibetans and my Rosettas, when I had them in here,
Mm-hmm.
I sat out here for hours just watching the mean ones and saying, your dinner next. And
we would cull the mean ones, and then when I ended up with docile ones in there, those are the ones I picked for my breeder cage, and I moved them over to the breeder cage, the docile ones.
Right.
The mean ones got eaten. So, but 15 is all I can hold in here without them being too mean to each other. So.
Sure. Verna Young wants to know what state you're in, which you already answered. What are the winters like out there?
We don't really have one.
No, we don't.
We get some rain.
We'll get down to 30 maybe, or 32 maybe 1 or 2 days in a year.
Right.
You know, and most of the time it's 40s and 50s and 60s,
Gotcha.
70s, 80s,
Right.
sometimes 90s. No, it doesn't get that hot, but it stays pretty temperate.
Extremely
Right.
mild. Yeah.
Candy Ross says, do you have any quail recipes you'd like to share?
Our favorite, it's kind of our standby because it's just so good. We make it every time. We just we do them with the skin on, and rub them.
Debone the breast. So I debone all the breast.
And then we season them with just a Cajun seasoning, your favorite Cajun seasoning, and I kind of mark them with a jalapeno or a serrano pepper, kind of just so you know this is a spicy, spicy quail. And then we just wrap them and we kind of fold them up.
We fold them up and put their legs inside their body and fold it all up with the serrano pepper inside.
Cool.
And then wrap it with bacon and barbecue it on the grill.
About the size of a stuffed pepper.
Yeah.
Right.
It's about the size of a stuffed pepper, and they're really good.
And we usually eat one apiece.
Yeah, one apiece.
Surprised how filling they were.
We don't eat like a whole lot. We eat one quail apiece, and then whatever size we'll eat.
Sure. Okay,
And
Quail Ma'am. Go ahead.
Lately, I'm sorry. We've had so many eggs lately. I've been playing with the pickled eggs.
Pickled eggs.
Sure.
Yes.
Things like that. So it's been fun.
Quail Ma'am says, what do your future business plans entail?
Well, I would like to move out to the country so I could actually start something where I'm running quite a bit of quail. We're doing this as part of our Walk to Freedom kind of deal. We want to be full-time missionaries for Christ.
Great.
And so we want to have something that will sustain us, a farm or something where we can provide food for people, but also invite people over for training and get-togethers and ministry. So, but we would like it to just be an integral part of our overall lifestyle of producing products for people and.
Sure.
You know, but it's easy. That's the thing. You know, I've had goats before. I've had rabbits. You know, they're all pretty easy when you have the system set up. So you can actually have quite a few, I would think.
Right.
You know, I could probably handle myself right now, working almost full time at a normal job. I could probably handle 600 or 700, no problem.
Sure. Okay, Rhodes Matheson says, you said you got your eggs from Zach at Myshire. When was that? And he said he's been trying, but it says everything is out of stock. So I guess he's having problems.
Well, it was before he went out of stock, I'll say that much. The first time, because he's actually been out of stock and he's come back into stock and then he's run out of stock again. So it was the very first time, and actually I got the Rosettas and the Tibetans because he didn't have jumbos at that time, and I said I'll just wait for jumbos. So I raised the Rosettas and the Tibetans, and they're a smaller bird, so you get a smaller product, of course. And I waited till he came available with his jumbo wilds, and I ordered 120 of those. When did I order the first ones? The first ones are probably about 10 weeks, 10 weeks old. So the top rack there is 10 weeks. So it's only been 10 weeks since 11 weeks that I've been doing this.
Okay.
That was the first to start.
It
might be a little bit longer.
Right.
14 weeks, maybe.
Candy Ross says, how many soldier flies should they get started with? What would you recommend a good starting?
I would just do the little tub and just try it out. See if you can get them to breed.
Yep.
You have to get them to breed, otherwise they'll just die, in the larval stage. So you have to get them to breed so they can produce more eggs, and then when they produce more eggs, that's when you start getting the abundance.
But it's
Right.
exponential.
Yeah.
You really don't need a lot.
Yeah, each black soldier fly female lays somewhere like 500 to 600 eggs, so it's exponential, big
Right.
time.
Okay, Jay says, if I have a golden Italian tuxedo female and a golden Italian male, can I breed back to some pure golden Italian offspring? I think she's saying
I'll
if
let
she,
you answer that because I have no clue. So,
if I'm reading the question right, if she breeds a golden Italian tux female with a golden male or Manchurian, can I breed back to some pure golden Italian offspring? Yeah, you can breed them back. That's not a problem. You're probably going to get a mix of tuxes and golden Manchurians, and possibly some regular Italians. So, a good person to ask is Zach over at MyShire. As a matter of fact, if you go to his website, he's doing a playlist of all the different colors, and I'm not sure if he covered Italians yet, but when he does, he gives all the detail that you need to know about them. Okay, Chris Daly says,
Shanda's got to be cutting out here. So
Okay.
She's going to pop in and say, you got to come in and say a little
I'm
bit.
close. Thank you so
Shanda,
much.
thank
Really
you,
fun.
Shanda. I appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and it was great. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, Chris Daly says, how much would you say that you spend per month keeping quail, and is the investment worth the egg/meat output?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Like the egg production, we like right now with just the top cage layers that we have right there, we're getting about 33 eggs per day.
Yep.
And we can't eat them all. We've got stacks of them in our fridge right now. So, and it's very economical to feed quail.
Right.
They're very inexpensive to feed. So it's just so much better than chickens. The chickens were nice, but they just do not produce as much, not nearly for the same amount
Sure.
of feed.
Okay, Connie says, Cesar, you said you have about double the number of Rosettas versus the number of jumbos. Are the jumbos actually double the size of the Rosettas, or are you?
Actually, they're not double. They're just a little bit bigger. Actually, right now they're not even 6 weeks old, and they're as big or bigger than the Rosettas and the Tibetans.
Nice.
So they're getting there pretty quick. I mean, the jumbo wilds grow really fast. They eat and they get hot really fast. That's why you can't have so many in a cage,
Right.
because they're just too big. They get big quick. So I'm very impressed with the size of the jumbos.
Okay, let's see if we got any more questions down here. We are running a little short on time, but that's okay. Love and Life at Home says we've already answered that one. How much time do you spend working with your quail? Verna said, what's your favorite way to eat quail? And I think you've already covered that one.
Barbecue. We haven't tried it really any other way, so that's.
I love it
we
barbecued
really
too.
like that. I want to try some fried, like New York Coturnix.
Oh yeah.
Was talking about, and maybe just doing some stuff like a jalapeno pepper with some cream cheese or something like that.
Sure.
Also, but the bacon wrap barbecue is really good.
Yep.
I like it.
Okay, Connie says, Cesar, did you have trouble maintaining the temps and humidity manually while you were manually turning your eggs?
No, because the unit stayed closed all the time, and I just had some ribbon that I had running out of holes, and I would just lift it up and lower it and clamp it with just a regular paper clip kind of thing,
Sure.
for a big ream of paper.
Yep. Okay, Verna says, do you use just quail eggs when cooking, or do you still buy chicken eggs?
No, we have our chicken eggs that they produce, and they're actually not producing yesterday or today, but we eat those and then quail eggs. I prefer the quail eggs. They're actually so much better.
Right.
They're creamier. They taste better. I just like them a lot more.
Yeah, I love them too. Okay, 5x5 Urban Canine Chicken Punter says, I have a large 40-foot flight cage that is at least 8 foot in height. Would that be okay for a large number of Coturnix quail? What are your thoughts on that, Cesar?
I would probably say it'd be good.
Yeah.
My experience, if you can keep cats and stuff away from there, you'd be good. If you're not really too worried about the egg production, that's the main thing, is the egg production and finding them in a run like that. But it sounds like the right size. I mean, like, it'd be good.
Yep.
Good size for them.
Okay, Colton says, is the room you keep your incubators in climate controlled?
Yes, it is. So I have the AC vent closed in there, so it can not have so much wind blowing around, but it is climate controlled.
Okay. Scott Wallace says, is direct sunlight a problem for these birds? I have mine covered and they still are panting a lot.
Yeah, I think they just temperature. It's just temperature.
Yep.
I mean, as soon as I brought them outside from inside, the babies, they start panting pretty much right away.
Yeah.
So
And a lot of people think that when they're panting, that they're hot. Well, they are hot, but that panting is basically it is called, I'm trying to think of the word, respiratory evaporative cooling. So they use that to cool themselves down, so I have birds in an air conditioned room. It gets like 85 in there and they still pant. So I don't worry about them.
Yeah.
Okay, those are all asked already. Okay, Stacy says, if you're just starting out, how many eggs would you suggest she order for incubation?
Well, if you order 120 or 115, whatever they come in, you're probably going to get about 70 to 80 out of that. That's doable if you got a space to put a stacked cage that's 2 foot by 6 foot in length. That's how my cages are, 2 foot by 6 foot, with 11-inch high interior and stacked. But that takes a little bit of space. You got to have a pretty decent cage. So,
right.
And time wise, like I said, that only takes me about 10 minutes a day, just 2 cages.
Okay. Connie says, I'm impressed with your inventiveness. Are you just that inventive? Are you just that inventive, or did you find everything from research?
No, if you've ever watched Papa Builder of Things on My Shire Farm,
oh yeah,
I'm him at a younger age. I think up things like my feeders in the big cage over there. I ended up putting a piece of wood underneath it to level them out in the sloped floors.
Yep.
And I drilled a couple of screws all the way through that wood so they're poking out. And when I set it on the wire, it keeps the food from turning or sliding down in the cage.
Sure.
So it keeps it secure. It's just things I come up with. My phone is attached to my tripod with some rubber bands right now. So
yeah, whatever works, right?
yeah, so I just come up with things.
Okay, Rose Matheson says, are Jumbo Wilds your favorite breed? If so, why?
I would say I'm liking the Jumbo Wilds. Mine back here have all their feathers. When I got them, they were missing all their back feathers due to overcrowding, but they weren't really overcrowded. Since I have them in here, they grew all their feathers out. My other Jumbo Wilds, that I'm impressed with their size, but they have the same problem where they're missing a lot of feathers on their back.
Gotcha.
And maybe that when once they grow out of their teens, maybe it'll start filling in automatically or what. But they just don't look as pretty. But I like the size,
Sure.
definitely.
EA says, what is the height of your cage?
They're 11 inches on the
Okay.
interior.
Okay.
The total height is about 6 foot.
Right, now I think she meant the interior height.
Interior height is about 11 inches.
Okay. Connie wants to know, have you ever had any quail loss from binging on oyster shell? Oyster shell? I lost a jumbo who did this.
No, I don't put the oyster shell in there too much. I only did it for a couple of weeks, just until they reach maturity. Then I switched them over,
Yeah.
and I didn't put it in there every day. I would put a little bit, and it would stay in there for about 4 or 5 days, and then I took it out and put it in a week later or something like that. So.
Sure. S8 says, what do you think are the biggest differences from your outdoor setup and Terry's indoor cages that you have made?
I think he probably has less of a fly problem than we do, because being outside, we have flies galore,
Right.
and my wife's gonna macrame some hangers here so we can put some of that golden malrin fly bait in, because we have it in little trays on top of just the feeder trays, and baby possums tend to get in there and they eat it and then they die in our yard, and we
Right.
don't want that happening. But flies probably is his best thing that he has. And also probably when the males start crowing, I just 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, they'll be crowing
Right.
at all hours of the night, and I'm like, I had to put them in my shed for a little bit, because they were so loud. Then finally I culled them, and it's not a problem anymore. But when these guys start crowing here, they're gonna start finding the fridge pretty fast.
Okay. S8 has another question. Any good tips for keeping Coturnix outdoors in the heat?
Fans. So this one has nice shade tree here, but the other one over there doesn't. I have just a cover that I made for it, but I've attached, and I don't know if it was on the video, but I've got 2 fans on the side of the cages blowing all the way across the cages.
Yep.
That one of them I found on the side of the road that somebody was throwing out, and I just tied it hanging from the top of the cage, and then the other one was one that I had, but I have fans running on them all the time, and I constantly make sure they have water. You just got to make sure they have water too.
Yep.
And a decent amount of shade. They got pretty good shade there.
Right. Chris Daly wants to know, do you have any issues with predators messing with your quail?
The only predators that I worry about are, we have rats and possums. And the possums, I'm worried they'll just steal the eggs. But I have heard they do sometimes eat the quail too. So that's why I have those 1x4s over the egg rollouts.
Yep.
Just to kind of keep anything large from going in there or reaching in there. But no, we don't have any predators. So we did, even though we're in the interior of the city, about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we had raccoons show up. I guess they were coming through the sewer system and getting out and
Right.
coming and stealing our cat food in our neighborhood. But other than that, all we have are cats, rats, and possums.
Right.
No
Right.
snakes.
EA wants to know if you sell any of your quail eggs locally.
We are selling quail eggs. We're trying to find the sweet spot of what people will buy and what they'll pay for. So we do sell quail eggs. We're probably going to start selling pickled quail eggs here pretty soon too. I think that's probably going to be a better way to sell them. So.
Right. Chris Daly's asking, what percentage of calcium can I get from recycling the eggshells and adding them to their feed? Do you have any idea on that? I don't either. A quail is only going to take what they need as far as calcium, so you could actually free feed it back to them. When I do that, I just I bake the shells, I crush them, grind them through a blender, and I'll add it to my feed bucket, and it's usually gone, every time I feed it. So they're taking what they need. Verna says, do you ever think of raising quail for meat? which I'm sure you do.
Yeah, that's what these are for. I've got a pretty big family, and when this COVID hit, that's when we said, man, we may not be able to have a good high quality food supply in the future, if things go worse, or you just never know. So
Sure.
I've always been the type of person that would want to raise animals for food, because I know that I'm providing a good life for them, and humane kill and all that stuff.
Sure.
So rather than supporting and buying chicken, like we don't really buy that much chicken anymore, because we use our quail for meat.
Same with us. Quail Ma'am says, what are your favorite kind of drinking cups for your automatic watering system?
Okay, the drinking cups I have there, I think you all use one that has a little yellow thing in there that they peck on, and it
the plunger,
releases water. The ones that I have, the cup actually fills up and moves up and down, and as it gets heavier with water, it shuts off the valve.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no yellow thing in there, so you can scoop it out real easy to clean it out. I don't even know what they're called. I can probably get you a link for Amazon, but they're pretty economical and easy to set up. They work fine. I haven't had any failures on any of them, and less moving parts, I think, as opposed to the spring and the little trigger mechanism and the other ones that like you have on your cage.
Right. Okay, S8 says, what keeps you from building a shed and keeping your birds indoors?
Well, that I was going to put them in my shed. I have a 12 by 12 shed, but I've just got too much stuff in there. But I think what I'm going to do is just add on to my shed and put a flat roof on it, or another roof on there, and then build some sides and make it like semi-indoor. I don't think that I want to use an air conditioner just because of the dander and the cleaning of the vents. And I just don't want to spend time doing that. It's just an added thing. So I might just keep them in a shaded area outdoor with fans blowing on them.
Right. Okay, Chase says, do you have a problem with the males scalping one another?
Yes. Yeah, I got a lot of bald ones over there that have never come back their hair. These guys are not doing any of that. The jumbo wilds that I have, they're not doing any of that. They're just missing on their back.
Yep.
And I think that's just heat and maybe a little bit of overcrowding.
Right.
Just because of the size of my brooders that I have. I think they're doing better, because I used to have the males over with the females in the big cage, and I took out all the males and put them over here because they seemed like they were a little crowded.
Right.
So, and I'll do the same thing with these guys. If they start doing that, the ones that are left over will probably be the scalp ones, because they're usually more docile, and they'll probably end up over there. But I've still got some Tibetans and Rosettas over there that are completely bald. They look like bald, just the whole back of their head.
Right. Chris Daly says, if you could start over, would you only raise the jumbos and not worry about the standard sizes?
No, actually, no. I think part of our marketing plan that we're looking for in the future is to sell pets also.
Okay.
So we're going to want to try different varieties. I want to make some little cages like the one that I made back here that can be just put on a countertop with a pan underneath them. Yep. Can slide in and out, and that I could sell the cages and also the quail ready to lay eggs and everything.
Right.
A full ready-made setup. That's going to be part of our marketing and what we do as a business.
Okay. TA says, if I want white meat, what is the best breed? Chickens.
I think they're all brown meat. You'd have to get chickens.
They are.
Maybe some bantams. I hear bantams are pretty good for that.
Are you both in residential and or agricultural zones, and how did this affect getting NPIP? Thank you. Are you NPIP certified?
No, I'm going to get NPIP certified. Okay. My lady who works in this area is stuck out of town because of COVID.
Yep.
So she can't come back for some reason. I don't know why, but she's out of town. I can go maybe about 35 minutes away from here to Beeville and go to the Amish community, and they have somebody there, but I don't even know where to start to look.
Right.
But as far as getting MPIP and avian certified for my area, it's pretty simple. You know, once you have somebody available to do it.
Right.
I don't have my certification yet, though. I will be getting it.
Right. I don't know about Texas. Florida does not require NPIP or AI if you're not shipping out of the state. So if you're just selling local, you'll be fine. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's the same here.
Yeah.
You don't have to be MPIP or avian certified. Only if you're going to be selling over state lines. That's the only reason. Verna
wants to know: have you ever tried coop and compost for your chicken coop or your quail poop pans? I don't know what coop and compost is.
Coop and compost. In my chicken pen, what I do is when I cut my yard, I bag the grass and I throw the grass clippings in there, and it makes like a deep litter mulch in there. And every now and then I'll go in there and scrape it all out and add that to my compost pile. But I've never, and I let the chickens out every now and then, so any quail poop that is on the ground, they scrape it up and clean it up. But
Sure.
I've never thought of using them for that.
Right. Okay, Quail Ma'am says, how did you make your egg rollout tray covers?
They're just 1x4 pieces of wood just laying on top.
Okay, you don't have them hinged?
They don't have a hinge or anything. They're just a 1x4 board sit right on top of the ledge, and if you push them, they'll fall off. But I do want to make something that can flip up, but I need to wait because I'm getting, like I said, J feeders for the outside of the cage.
Right.
They're on back order right now, and I don't know how far those things will open if I have the J feeders on there, so I'm waiting before I build anything.
Okay. Verna says Kai, C-U-Y, not quail. Kai is a different animal. I'm sorry, Verna. I thought your phone might have, what do they call that, where it changes the words on you? Yeah. I don't remember what the question was, though. Spartman says, do you have any backup plans for feed if the supplies become hard to get due to COVID?
The only thing I have is my black soldier flies. I mean, you could literally feed them. They're pretty high protein. They're pretty high calcium.
Right. That
That was one of the other reasons I got black soldier flies, because of that. Right now, I don't have any other backup plans other than that. You know, the black soldier flies.
Okay.
If I was on my own property, I'd probably be growing some of the
Sure.
stuff that they need to eat.
Okay, Quail Ma'am says, thank you, Cesar. Candy Ross says, Rent-A-Coop waterer. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I think Rent-A-Coop. Mine are not Rent-A-Coop. They're from China or something like that. But they're just like the Rent-A-Coop waterers.
Okay.
They don't have the yellow thing on the inside.
Okay.
They're just an empty bowl that fills up. The Chinese ones work fine too. So.
Jacob says, any input on quail ankle bracelets? I'm interested to keep up with breeders. Do you use any type of marking system?
I
on your
use
birds?
zip ties.
That's all
right
I
now.
use.
I'm only using green zip ties to label my males,
Mm-hmm.
and that's pretty much about it. I have not gotten into the whole keeping track of different breeders or anything like that, but just the small little zip ties, you can get them. I think I actually bought a whole pack of different colored ones, 5 different colors. But you just put them around the legs and make sure they're not too tight, and
Yep.
you can keep track that way.
Okay,
You can
Verna's
put
Verna's got a
bands
question
too,
up.
so like a green and a red one to signify something special.
Sure.
If you need to.
Verna's question was, would you consider adding CUI, I don't know if that's Kai or what, to raising for your meat? Do you know what she's talking about? CUI?
CUI. I
Why?
don't.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either, Berna. I'm sorry about that. I feel ignorant right now. Chris Daly says, do you have any idea how much feed each adult quail eats per week, per month, and how many pounds?
I heard somewhere, I think it's something like an ounce per week. Is that about right? Have you heard that?
I have no idea. I don't keep track of it. I know I go through about 100 pounds of feed every week. So
I don't know. I watched somebody online that said it's either an ounce or an ounce and a half per week. I think it is, or maybe it's per day. I'm not sure.
Right.
You know, it's not very much.
right.
You know, I think Zach says from birth to butcher, it costs $1 something to feed it for its lifespan, something like that, $1.25 or $1.50,
Sure.
something like that. It's not very much cost wise.
Ah, that's what it is. Love and Life at Home says they're guinea pigs. CUI are guinea pigs.
Oh, guinea pigs.
I never
Yeah.
heard them called that. That's weird.
My friend has some guinea pigs, and we've thought about using them for. I think you use them for deep litter mulch or to
Right?
eat things up. I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. I don't know if I would consider them or not. They're awful cute, though. I would never eat one, that's for sure. But they'd be
Yeah.
pets.
Yeah, Berna says the same thing. Kai is what Americans call pet guinea pigs. I'll be darned.
Never heard of that before.
No, I haven't either.
Must
Let's
be a North.
see. I don't know. I've never heard them called that, so I don't know. Okay, we are. Oh, wait a minute. Roberto, did I ask you on average how much do you invest monthly in your birds?
Ooh. I would probably say for everything that I've done and built and bought, you know, as far as watering cups and hoses and feeders and all that stuff, I spent probably close to $400, I would think, maybe a little less. Feed wise, when I go get feed, I go and spend like $80 at a time and get a whole bunch because I go to the feed store that's out of town a little bit.
Right.
I don't have any clue how much I spend per month on them.
Yeah, I try to make my birds pay for themselves. I usually sell enough eggs and enough birds to cover all my feed costs, but I probably go through, I don't know, 450, 500 pounds a week, or a month on feed. Plus I buy the pine shavings to line my trays with. Okay.
I don't use pine shavings. I did for a little bit in my brooder, but it just seemed easier to just clean them out every day and
Right.
not mess with it. And I didn't see a big difference in smell.
Okay, everybody else is talking about the Kai, or CUI, is a popular meat animal in South America. Well, I learned something new today. That's great. Okay, we are at the end of our questions, and we are 24 minutes overdue, so we are going to go ahead and pull the plug on this one. I know, Cesar, I'm sure you've got other things you need to be doing. I do want to real quick announce the winner of the coffee cups is Rhodes Mathis. I'm going to go ahead and send you a coffee cup. If you can contact me at terry@coturnixcorner.com, send me your shipping information and I will get that out to you. Chris says, I enjoyed the chat. Good job. So, Cesar, I want to say special thanks to you and your wife for coming out and talking with us today. It was really enjoyable to have you on.
Thank you.
Stay on Skype and I will talk with you a minute after we close out the show. So everybody else, thank you very much for joining us today. I appreciate your questions. If you guys, like I said earlier, if anybody wants to come on the show as a member guest spotlight, get a hold of me either by email or on Facebook or whatever. And let me go to a bigger shot here so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Sorry about that. Yeah, get a hold of me and we'll talk, possibly get you on the show. Mark says, hi guys. Terry, do you butcher your adult quail when you sell them for meat, or do you sell them alive? I do both. I have some people that want to do their own butchering, but I do have some birds in the freezer that if somebody asks me, I can sell them some meat. So, but anyhow, thanks everybody for showing up today. I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate all your comments and questions. I will see you here next week. We will have William Carl Foster, also known as Dale K. Coturnix, or K. Dale Coturnix. He's going to be talking about breeding for color. So that is going to be a very interesting show. Again, thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next one. And everybody have a great night.